class reunions, right? And they break out the old yearbooks, and and if some people really don't look good anymore, right?
No.
They've gained 75 pounds.
Let themselves slide.
Let themselves slide.
Yeah.
Marriage just fell apart. And you show up to the class reunion and you got the ugly duckling that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's now the
swan.
The swan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're reminded of, man, I used to be.
You used to be somebody. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man? What's going on?
We are back for another one.
Back for another one. Start that music off way too fucking high. All right. There we go. We're in here, and I'm watch ready. I don't know. I needed my watch. We had a couple episodes without the watch. I
like the white one better, actually.
That's where you're mistaken, sir. That's where you're mistaken.
Yeah,
This one's amazing.
The blue's nice, but I like the white.
No, this is the best watch in the world. I'll throw it out there right now.
Okay.
Top tier. That's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day, man.
Whole nother day.
But, what are we getting into today?
Man, so we are talking about the idea of being the smartest person in the room. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. That is why we are here to unpack.
To kind of unpack that, right?
I can tell you right now, if I'm the smartest one in the room, we are all
headed.
We are all in
train
trouble.
wreck.
We are all in trouble.
That's a lie. That's a full
We're
lie.
all gonna get canceled. We're all gonna get fired. It's about to be a shit show.
One of the smartest dudes I know.
No, I don't know about that, but I do struggle. So here's the thing about that. You go to all of these. Well, I don't go to them because I'm not paying that kind of money. But you go to these gurus and you go to these self-help people and you go to these. Oh, I want to go to a whatever guide, business counselor, consultant, whatever. Everybody always says, "Hey, you need to surround yourself with people that are doing better than you."
Right.
That's how you learn. See what they're doing. See this. See that.
They can pull you up.
Right? Now, it sounds smart.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the right thing to do. But here's my problem with that, right? Is because if the successful mentality is to surround yourself with people that are doing better than you, no one's ever going to be in your group because there's never, they're all going to be looking to move up. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if I'm going to surround myself with people that are better than me, that means I'm going to go into a group of people that are better than me. They're not telling them surround yourself with people that are worse than you, right? Like they're saying surround yourself with people that are better than you. So how am I going to get into that next level group if they're trying to get into that next level group and they're going to look at me like you're below me?
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. It's a perpetual cycle.
It's a cycle of just getting shitting on the little guy.
I got you.
And I even experienced that, even now in this show, right? I reach out probably in the most annoying way possible. And maybe I'm annoying motherfuckers, but trying to get people on the show. Right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm trying to surround myself with people
who are doing better,
that are better than me, that will help us, not because we want something from them or to use their fame or popularity, but because I want to find us somebody who can give insight, feedback, learn, whatever it is, right? And we've had success with some bigger name people that have agreed to come on the show. But there's also a ton of people who don't even acknowledge you exist.
Don't even respond.
You're not in your stratosphere, right?
Yeah.
Or they just tell you no because you don't have the following that they're looking for, right? And it makes me wonder because like I get it. I try to respect it. I try to understand the process because everybody out there is hustling. But at the same time, I think to myself, like, how fucking selfish are you, right? That you don't even acknowledge, or you'll make a video or a post or complain about how people are just, you don't understand how busy you are, you don't have whatever, right? And it's interesting. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Hit it.
This is just fucking bothering me. But right. So it's interesting because there's a guy, and I'm gonna link him in this description or whatever here. But on all social media's platform, he's called the Knees Over Toes Guy.
Okay.
Knees Over Toes Guy. And I have wanted to get him on the show just because I have, for people that don't know, really bad knees.
Mm-hmm.
And he has really bad knees. He has a great story. Hopefully we can get him on the show to tell it one day. But he started a program. He was told he's never going to be able to walk right, do this, do that, play sports, blah, blah, blah. This is white men can't jump. This is white guys putting his head above the rim now. You know, whatever. He's amazing. He's healed himself. He has a family, has a kid. He's teaching this training. He's certifying people to be trainers, like all of this stuff. You know, over 1 million people on Instagram, a ton of people on YouTube, growing, whatever.
Okay.
He was on the Joe Rogan Experience, you know, already. So big time. This guy's doing pretty well. He's out there, right? Yep. He has this thing, even though he's doing all of this stuff, where he still takes the time to answer everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay.
This guy's got 1 million plus whatever. How many of those people message him? Probably not. But right. I could probably consider a considerable amount, right? I reached out to this guy. He turned down coming on the show to speak with us, not because he didn't have time, but because he was working. He's doing some trainings for the military. He had to go to California. He's filming with the Marines and doing a bunch of videos over there, which he has released already. But he's always doing something. Mm-hmm. But here's this guy that's super successful, right? He's surrounding himself by people that are doing just as good, if not better than him. And he still takes the time to I'm nobody, right? This show is nothing compared to whatever, but I'm reaching out to him and he's answering me back, having a real conversation. He's grateful for everybody that follows him,
sees him,
sees him, whatever, right? He has time to do that. Then you have people that don't even have that type of following that just act like.
I mean, I think we talked about in the previous show about humility, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's a characteristic that he seemed, you know, not having met the guy, that seems like he exhibits, you know, kind of in that moment, because there's something about realizing he probably started right where everybody else is, right? You started at the bottom. You pulled together some microphones and some headphones and decided you had a great idea. Let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And started your podcast. And now, how many ever years later, how much of a time later, now he's, you know, in that place. He may feel a need, you know, to be able to stay connected to that, just so that he can stay humble in the process.
Yeah. But that makes you wonder, right? So then there's those guys. If he was following that logic, you know, he wouldn't acknowledge anybody, right? And I think that's business-wise. As we're on this endeavor, we have this show. We, you know, dabble in everything else, whatever else. You know, you're looking to try to make those breaks, try to make those changes, try to make those transitions. You know, how do you go to that next level if everybody is always going to that next level and leaving you?
I don't know that everybody's that way, right? I feel like there are some people who, like the guy you just mentioned, who are willing to reach a hand down and realize. But there, I think you have to know that you're in several different groups. It's not just one, right? I think you know, and we've heard this before. At least I've heard it several times before. You have to have somebody that you pour into, somebody on your same level, you know, somebody, your peers, and then you have to have somebody that pours into you, right? And you're within kind of these three groups, so that at every time there's some transfer that's happening, within the process. If you stay in this middle group, if like you said, if you're always the smartest and you're always pouring down, I think you have to consider, is that a need for me to be needed? If you only focus on that, if you only focus on being the one who's always seen as the expert, and you're always just giving to somebody else, then you have to consider that, I believe, right?
No, for sure. But you have to be able to recognize it, right?
You have to be able to recognize it.
Can you recognize it? Is the question.
There's also a fault of just staying in the middle too. Because if it's just me and you talking, me and you talking, me and you talking, me and you talking, me and you dreaming, right?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Me and you, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, but never anybody in that next group to help us say, hey, well, actually do it this way, or this is how I did it. Then you kind of stay here in this dream mode, right?
But how do you get that next person? Is the question, right?
I think it's exactly what you're doing, right? Is that process is being fearless enough to ask,
yeah,
and deal with the rejection of the no,
and be humbled when you
because the no's are part of the process, clearly, right?
More no's than yes.
But we've gotten some yeses, and you've been successful on a level because if had you not asked, they wouldn't have shown up. They wouldn't have even seen the need. And I think some of the there was value added in those shows because a lot of the people that came on hadn't talked about themselves. They hadn't had a chance to discuss their process. They were discussing that product or that thing that made them famous, but they never had the opportunity to discuss, man, this is how I felt in this process, or this is how I'm looking at things right now. And I think that's that helps with the flow down when you have actually some value that you're offering them.
No, for sure. I think that is definitely a thing. Being persistent is also part of that. I am persistently annoying. I know that I am. But I guess for a lot of people though, they're in very similar boats to us. I guess I'm trying to get in the mindset of the person that is the smartest person in the room, right? And how do you give back? I try to think about myself as if our show is successful and our show does very well and things are going our way. Have you thought about what does that look like for you? I try to think about, for me, how can I apply and pay that? I want to pay it down. I don't want to pay it up.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't make sense to pay it up. And I think a lot of people now, they're always looking up. I got to keep going up, keep going up, keep going up, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that the mindset of, so always surrounding yourself with better people creates a almost negative, it's almost a negative outcome and experience, even though there's success there. I think it's negative success. I don't know if that makes sense.
And I think I hear you, but what if the partnership is not solely about business? Because if it's not solely about business, then hear me here. You might be able to, the better person in the room might be below you.
No,
in business. For sure. They might be below you in business, but be better than you in character.
Oh, that's usually the case. That's usually the case in all of it, right? But I think that the mindset now, I guess that's where I say, like, right, if this is a successful, what do we do? What do you do? What do I do? That makes a difference. One of the things is I think people don't realize, like, the value. There's plenty enough money for everybody, right? There's a ton of money. There's money that doesn't even have a name on it yet.
Dude, it's just paper.
That's right. Yeah. That's waiting out there.
Yeah.
But people act like it's the scarcest commodity that there is, and so they're protective over who they allow in those circles, right?
Right.
And when you have someone, right, the person that's better in character, yeah, that's great. You're better in character, but character doesn't pay my rent.
You're right.
Right?
You're right.
Character doesn't pay my rent. And it's like, how do you achieve that or keep continuing to level up and or even be acknowledged by those people, be seen by those people, right? Because it's not a matter of affirmation as much as it is just assistance.
I got you.
Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's just I guess that's a hard thing for a lot of people, right? Because you have a lot of people, they're going out, the ones that are going to see these people to help them get their life on track or to guide them or to motivate them or to whatever it is. Like, they're going to these people because they're looking for the secret sauce, right? They're looking for lightning in a bottle. They're looking for whatever it is, because they need it. They want to go and no one around them, or their perception is no one around them can give them that next level.
Right.
So what do you do? What do you do at that point? How do you get to a point where you can say, all right, this is where I'm at. I know I need to go up. I'm going to go find people wherever, right? Because if I knew, I probably wouldn't be sitting here now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or do you make those groups? Do you make them yourself? Or, I don't know. And I guess that's kind of what the conversation is about, right? Like,
man, I think a lot of what you're saying is already kind of happening, right? I think it's happening in the form of the reaching out, or even in here, right? When we talk about liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Yes, please. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
The listeners and the viewers that are watching and listening to the show, and it helps us make more content. But even that, a lot of times when people say like, comment, subscribe, whatever, a lot of times it's because they're selling something.
But we're using it because you talked about how do we grow, right? We're using it hopefully to make us better, right? The reason we're asking these questions, the reason we want you to chime in, is because we want to know if the content that we are creating is actually helping, right? Is it making a difference?
Yeah.
Am I reaching down to help you through depression? Am I reaching down to help you through being humble? Am I reaching down to help you through, are my life's experiences producing something that helps you in your life experiences?
For sure.
And I'm hoping that, because you said, how do we do it? And I'm trying to think through, we're doing it. We're doing it right here, right? We chose, we chose to, kind of come to the table, bring mics and cameras and the whole nine, and begin to share our life's experiences, our opinions, right?
Yeah.
And share that with everybody else, hoping that something we say will help somebody else at the end of the day.
That's true. It really is, I guess that's the thing, is it doesn't feel like it, right? And I think that's where
explain.
It doesn't.
What doesn't feel like it?
It doesn't feel like we're in the process.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of people lose themselves, or maybe wander off the path, is that they don't recognize that they may already be in the process.
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
They don't recognize that they may already be in the group because they're living it. And so you're always looking, right? You're always looking for something that you already have or you're already doing. And
what's another crazy thing? Can't see the forest for the trees.
Exactly.
Whatever that means.
I know exactly. What, right. But that's how it is. And I think really that's where we're trying to get to, right? Is to let people know and open their eyes to see that they're already living in that process. Now, just because it hasn't been 100% fruitful, or you haven't.
Maybe it's because we are attributing success to what everybody else success should look like. like the analytics should be at this point, the views
Right.
and downloads should be at this point. And what we've done is we've created a measuring stick that may not be the right one for us.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because it may just be the person who never comments from Argentina that has logged in and, you know, downloads the videos every week,
Yeah. Yeah.
but never says anything, but is being helped.
No,
You know,
for sure. 100%.
You know, it would be nice to know.
It would be wonderful.
It'd be nice to know.
Wonderful to know. But yeah, I mean that really is what it is, you know, and it's easy to get caught up in what people's definition of success is and,
right.
and looks like, right? But then there's also a whole nother world of operating that we don't have access to yet. Right? Because the definition of success, I think that success isn't any one thing. It's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
And it's always going to change.
Right.
You know, it's always going to change. And it's what do you do when you level to get to that next level, right? When you move up, what do you do to make sure that you're dropping the ladder down after you?
Yeah, I got you. Right.
So that people can come with. And I think that's what is lost a lot of times, you know, in the process is the downward ladder. You know, it's the downward ladder. You know, it's not us getting there and then cut the rope, motherfucker.
I mean, you know, and I'm thinking like of these cartoons, right? And you have, you know, where they run up the ladder and then they pull it up so that you can chase them up it, right?
Yeah.
But we do that naturally sometimes. We do that naturally. I've made it, you know, you need to figure it out.
Hey, make it work.
Make it work. Figure it out.
Put in the work. Now
I'll put in the work. Now it's your turn. Because if I give this to you, then you're not going to appreciate it. And we come through with all of these different scenarios of why we don't drop the ladder.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because then we're in the same place where we need a ladder, right? And like you're saying, you know, how do we know if I'm sure that there's probably somebody else who could help us turn this thing in a moment into something even bigger than what it is today, right?
Oh, for sure.
But they got to be able to, they got to drop the ladder. We have to see it and then actually climb it too. So.
Exactly. But that's the thing, right? Is it only takes the one, and a lot of people they miss their success. They miss getting into the group where you are working with the smarter people because you've given up.
Do you have to believe? Is part of that too believing that you deserve to be in the group? Is part of the reason why you're not there because you know what, I won't fit in or I don't deserve to be in this group of upper echelon people who have this understanding?
I mean, I think partially it has something to do with that a little bit. I don't know, because for me, and I can only speak for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but I feel I deserve success. I don't necessarily feel I fit in the group.
Okay. Is it intimidating? Is that part of it or not?
I mean, I guess it would I can't even speak. It would depend on how you define intimidating. Me, I just don't care to be in the group.
Because you don't like people.
I don't like people like that. Like give me my small circle and just let me be, right? Would I appreciate everybody that's helping make me a success? Yeah, of course. And I will do everything I can to show that appreciation, but I don't necessarily feel like I don't belong or I don't deserve. I don't know. I do feel that, I don't know, I guess I feel lost in the process.
Okay.
You know, and I know there's probably some listeners out there as well that feel lost in the process, because it's hard not to compare successes, right? It's hard not to compare successes, but at the same time, you know, you have to question what is a success, or be cognizant of what you're doing in your own life. I don't know. So perfect example. Excuse me. I don't know why my throat's getting all messed up. So for me, and I'm speaking for me, there's things that I can do or have done that people view as being successful.
Okay.
Right. Or I've checked off boxes, right? Like living in Hawaii. We use that for an example.
Yep.
Right. And we know we've had the conversation about looking through the louvers, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that's still a dream.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that's still a check mark that they may feel they'll never be able to achieve. I checked that box early.
Yeah.
I've checked it often. To me, I was just like, whatever. Right.
Yeah, on to the next.
This success for some, like, man, if I could only be able to do that, I'd be successful. For me, I did it. I didn't feel successful, and I'm just like, whatever. It is what it is. This is not my level of success, right? So I didn't acknowledge that as being a success or a victory or whatever you want to call it. And I think a lot of that applies to businesses as well, because or people in general. Just you look, and us sitting at this table, I'm sure there's some point in time where I've looked at your life or you looked at my life and been like, fuck, man, I wish I was doing that, not knowing that we both are in hell, right? Obviously, but you're just comparing those successes.
Yeah. Right. Right.
A lot of people, I do, in just driving general, people come to me and say, oh, well, I know you have this going on, I know you have that going on. Like, you assume. Yeah. You assume that I have these things going on. You don't realize I'm fucking miserable 99.9% of the fucking day, but you're just comparing successes.
You're seeing kind of this surface area, right? The surface area of my life. Yeah. As much as I want to show you, without the spotlight being on it to expose the rest, you're only gonna see those things. That's social media and all of that kind of stuff is a representation of the person. You're not meeting that full person. You're not meeting who they really are. You're meeting a representation of them. Here, I think we're being a little more open and honest in our conversation, right?
For
Over time, we've gotten even more vulnerable in that regard, right? We're being able to share more and more and more. So this becomes a little different than, say, a social media post that shows me doing whatever, right?
Hanging out at the beach or whatever it is.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a moment in time that looks like, oh, they're doing great. They're now in, we in Cabo somewhere for the weekend, but just I was miserable in Cabo and I took this selfie on the beach, right?
Took my one selfie before I went and cried in my room.
Right. And I presented that one, but this gives us the opportunity to kind of be a little more honest about the process, and then working together, we pull different things out of each other that, we come to the table not knowing what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
None of it's pre-scripted. None of it's pre-planned, and we've just made a commitment, I guess, to each other and to ourselves to allow whatever comes out to come out, and we'll talk about it, right? We'll work through it.
Yeah. No, but I think that's how it should be, right? I wish that more things in life or those groups were based on this principle, right?
Yeah.
Based on the principle of having that communication and talking through it and working through it and seeing, hey, where do the goals align? Where do they not? And how do we keep this ball rolling forward? And sometimes that means making difficult moves, difficult changes, difficult conversations, or whatever it may be. And it doesn't happen nearly enough because we're always just trying to just jump and how can I get up? Right? How can I get up? How can I get up? And pretty soon,
how can I make that million? Basically, how can I make this money so I can do what I want to do?
Yeah.
And we're pushing towards that, but not realizing that there's a life that is being held in the balance and needs to just hear this conversation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. One of the things that is important, I think, is our conversation has grown more outside of this conversation than it sometimes even in it. Like, we're sharing it with you, right? We're sharing it with you. But one of the growth things that has been for us is when the mic's cut off, sometimes we talk for another.
Yeah, it just still keeps going.
You know what I'm saying? And its growth and its development, and it helps. And there's a brotherhood and a bond that's being built. And so now you begin to build your own group, right?
Yeah.
Outside of just what you're seeing as a presentation, there's something real that's happening on the backside of this. And so how do you take these conversations that we're having together and then have them with your family, have them with your friends, have them with your group of people, and hopefully everybody then begins to grow?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. I think people are too scared. I think people are scared.
Where's the fear from?
I don't know. That's what I would question, right? But even then, having this show,
yeah,
right? How outside of this show, throughout the course of your life, like how often have you just sat down with your other friends or your frat brothers or whatever it may be and just had a real conversation outside of?
Yeah, it's always you always doing the highlights, right?
Yeah,
it's almost like social media when you get together, right? You talk about the highlights, you talk about the great things, right?
Yep.
And you might not ever bring up that, man, I'm struggling, but all of that, of course, was built in trust, right?
No, of course,
all of those kind of things. But again, you talk about the highlights because you don't get together too often, so you're not talking about how bad you're feeling. You're talking about, man, you remember when and we're laughing, right?
Yeah. But that's what's missed, though, right?
Yep.
Is because everybody lives in their own bubble.
Yeah.
A lot of people suffer alone.
Yep.
And this is the one time where they may get a break, or they're trying to figure whatever, they're working through whatever, that you can make an impact on the people, and all you're doing is just remind them of how great life used to be.
Yeah. right. You remember when? Man, but what about tomorrow?
Exactly. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I'm gonna kill myself tomorrow, but life was great, right? Like,
that's why I hate not that I hate them, but I look at class reunions, right? And they break out the old yearbooks, and and if some people really don't look good anymore, right?
No.
They've gained 75 pounds.
Let themselves slide.
Yeah. Marriage just fell apart. And you show up to the class reunion and you got the ugly duckling that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's now the swan,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're reminded of, man, I used to be.
Used to be somebody.
My trophies are in the school case.
Used to be somebody,
and
that's
now
every day.
Now we can't even run a lap around the block.
Exactly. I'm not hitting the big block. I'm like, what happened to me, right? So what 50 Cent said, what, damn, homie, in high school you were the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you, right? That's what it is, and it's true. It's true. It happens, but if we had more opportunities, or people gave themselves more opportunities to have these, right?
Yeah.
I think that there'd be more alignment,
mm-hmm.
And really, I don't think it's necessarily about leveling up, going to the next level, looking for a group that is more productive or more financially capable or whatever. It's utilizing the tools that are around you right now and combining the resources together right now. Why go after one person that has a little bit more than me when I could partner with 10 people that have just as much as me and put all that focus into,
and each of you all sharpen each other.
Yeah, moving forward.
So that the whole toolbox is ready for work.
Ready to go.
You can pull anything out of the box and it'll
whatever
do
you need, right?
I love it, man.
I don't know.
Let's try.
Well, that's all we can do is try.
Let's try.
Let's
Make
try.
a concerted effort to try.
Let's leave it right there.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We appreciate you listening for sure. But we need your help.
Yeah, we need your help. We need you to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can continue to make great content for you guys.
Yeah. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe.
And it's right here on the screen. Everything you need.
Right there. Thank you so much, guys, for listening.
All right, take care.
Asking